Great to have you here. Hope you're doing well today. I know I am. You know why? Because it's sunny. It's hot. Feels like spring here in Southern California finally. After a winter of rain, it was welcome rain. After a winter of cold, it was welcome cold. But now, it's time for the sun. So I'm very excited to be with you here today on KenCast. Hope you're all doing well today. Everyone, it is wonderful to see you. I'm so excited that you're all here today. It's a fun day. We're going to have a lot of great conversation today. There's a lot of news to talk about. We've got everything from Ralph Macchio's Twitter account. We've got the writer's strike, which we'll be getting into. We've got other movies and legacy sequels that you as Cobra Kai fans might be excited to see if you haven't already seen that yet. And so we're just going to have a great conversation today. Everyone, I want to get right into this and say hello to everyone. John Spangler, wonderful to see you, John. Hey, everyone, Cobra Kai never dies. Yes. Marianella, wonderful to see you. Robana, thank you for being a channel member, Robana. It is going well today. I hope your Sunday is going well as well. Nerd World, it's great to see you. Big T, thank you. Honored as always. We're working on your behalf constantly. A lot of people can't see what's happening behind the scenes. Let me assure you, Big T, we're making things work. We're making sure that you are not unjustly incarcerated, and also that your reputation will be rehabilitated. So it's great to have you here, Big T. Terry Johnson, great to see you. Yes, one of the things I love, I just want to bring this up, saying hi to everyone else. One of the things I love about doing this is that I get to see you every week. So all you returning viewers, thank you. It's wonderful to see you again, and you all know each other, which is just absolutely incredible. And if you're new today, if you're just watching KenCast for the first time today, welcome. If you're watching live, join the chat. Let me know what you think about stuff. Let everyone else know what you think about stuff. If you're watching on the replay, leave a comment down below. Because everyone will be able to see your permanent comment forever. So that's another thing, guys. If you have thoughts that are really important that you want to get down below this discussion so that everyone will see them going forward, leave a message in the live chat, but also leave a comment, leave a permanent comment below so we get to see what you think. It's great. And while you're doing that, if you're not subscribed, go ahead and hit subscribe. Go ahead and hit like and the notification bell so you can be notified when anything new comes out on this channel. It also helps support my channel. It boosts the videos. It's a great thing to do. So thank you so much to everyone who has subscribed, liked, and hit the notification bell. So already, NASA can't, thank you guys. This is NASA. Thank you so much for the super chat. Every dollar really helps support the channel. Ken wants everyone who thinks silver's guilty to do 60 push-ups on your knuckles. Yeah, that's right. It's, maybe I would have said that a year ago, but, that's a very crease thing to do. And, as a Terry Silver fan, someone who's loyal to the Big T, I don't know how I feel about giving out crease punishments, to do that. So maybe there's a Terry Silver punishment as well. But yes, the sentiment is wonderful. Thank you so much for your comment. I really, really appreciate it. Kim, it's wonderful to see you, Kim. Thanks for joining us today. Thank you for all your comments. George R., and sorry I don't join as much these days. George, anytime you can join us, it's wonderful to have you here. No worries whatsoever. It's great. Lisa, wonderful to see you, Lisa. And Jaws. Jaws, everyone, if you follow him on Twitter, he does these amazing memes he just creates, and I've been very honored to have him create Cobra Cole memes. So thank you so much, Jaws. Really appreciate it. Hello, Big K. Your happiness is great. Many Cobra Kai fans very furious against the hacker. We will try to be positive and happy, guys. And I will get into this because I'm upset. I am a Terry Silver fan, but first and foremost, I'm a fan of the Karate Kid universe, and I'm a fan of Ralph Macchio as Daniel LaRusso. Ever since I was a kid, amazing actor, and he played that part like no one else could play. So I'm very upset by the hacking that's taken place this week, and I will bring your attention to that and I'll tell you what I've done, and I'm thinking there are some things that we can do. So I want to say, NASA, thank you so much for becoming a channel member. Guys, if that's something you're interested in that helps support the channel, it's like a monthly uh, contribution, and you get a few things back, and like early videos and dedicated live streams, that kind of thing. Thank you for joining. Thank you for supporting the channel. Really appreciate NASA. Great to have you on board. Um, Javier, good to see you, Javier. Joining from Facebook says, hi, what if Johnny is still in love with Allie since 1982, 1984? It's a really great question, and I think Johnny kind of dealt with that in season 3. You had Ali show back up. At the same time, he was kind of starting things with Carmen. And from everything we've seen so far, it looks like Johnny has maybe closed that chapter in his life with Ali, and decided to move on and move into a romance with Carmen. But who knows what could happen in the future? What if Ali comes back and pledges her undying love for Johnny? Would that change things? It's a really good question. So thank you very much, Javier. It's great to see you. Hanzo says, it's been so long since I've caught a live show. So glad to be here. Well, we're glad that you're here. And seriously, guys, every one of you watching right now, every one of you contributing in the chat just makes this such a fun live stream, fun conversation. So it's great to have you here. Maite says, hola, Ken. Great to see you. Thank you for joining us. Donnie Pearson says, this past week has been amazing for pop culture fans. The Mandalorian season 3 finale, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Once and Always, and the final episode of Star Trek Picard ever. Yes, and I will bring up Star Trek Picard, I think, for a very, very special reason. So it's great to go over all these other legacy shows, in addition to Cobra Kai, all these other movies. Take Terry Silver Rocks. Thank you. Thank you for making it today. It's wonderful to see you. Thanks for joining us. Seema, wonderful to see you. Okay, so guys, let's start to get into our discussions. And like we always do, I think I am going to start us off with some news.
KenCast News.
Okay, here we go. So as you may know, KenCasts have now moved to the podcast world. So if you listen to podcasts, whatever platform you listen to podcasts on, go ahead and look up KenCasts, and then you'll be able to relive some of these conversations on the road. If you miss something, we have so many amazing conversations we're going to be putting up on KenCast. The latest one was with David Shatraw, who plays Tom Cole on Cobra Kai. But it's just a great way to catch up with all the great people I get to talk to while doing KenCast. And if you enjoy it, go ahead and leave a 5-star review. It really helps visibility for KenCast. So thank you, guys. Okay, so here's a new bit of news. We've been kind of following this Super Mario Brothers movie. We may do a KenCast devoted to this, because I think this gets into the idea of adaptations of nostalgic 80s, 90s properties. And this has been an amazing success story for Illumination and also for Nintendo. And I know probably most of you have seen this movie. This is the news about its box office for this weekend. So according to Discussing Film, the Super Mario Brothers movie earns $58.2 million in the film's third domestic weekend, a 37% drop. And so if you guys don't know, or if you don't follow box office returns, a drop is basically week over week. How much less is that gross week over week? And the percentage drop kind of tells you, are people continuing to be interested in the movie, or was it just a short-term kind of a flash in the pan kind of thing? And according to the box office receipts, a 37% drop is very small. That means this movie has insane audience retention. People are going to see this movie. They're going to see it again and again. And it is headed towards over $1 billion at the box office. It may wind up being one of the highest grossing movies of all time. we'll have to see what happens, but I thought this was notable to bring up, and we may go ahead and just have a full discussion about why this is, go into the movie, what we thought of the movie. I really enjoyed the movie. Let me know what you think of the Super Mario Brothers movie, and if you're a fan, let me know in the live chat or the comments. Okay, so we talked about briefly just an insane pop culture moment, and I have to bring this up. This is Star Trek Picard season 3. I'm an old Star Trek fan, and it's amazing, I think, what the production team just achieved with Picard season 3. Um, there are very few legacy sequels that I think do what Cobra Kai did so well. Very few. So Cobra Kai is a legacy sequel. They brought back this property that we really hadn't seen for decades, the Karate Kid movies, and it rekindled it. It made it relevant for a new era while still having all of those amazing qualities that made people love the originals so much. And what it does is a great legacy sequel will make old fans very happy and really enjoy it, but also people who are new to it, it'll create new fans and a new, very positive audience. And I think this season 3 in particular, in fact, specifically of Star Trek Picard, does what Cobra Kai did. And I might be motivated to actually make a video of the 7 lessons that coming from Cobra Kai of how they did a legacy sequel and why I think it worked. I think we can see why it worked also with Picard season 3. If you're an old Star Trek fan, this is definitely, don't miss it. If you've watched the first 2 seasons of Picard and kind of been turned off, don't worry about it. You pretty much don't need to see the first 2 seasons to watch season 3. So if you're a fan of Star Trek and have seen season 3, let me know what you think in the live chat and the comments. Really, really recommend it. What a wonderful job they did. Next, Ralph Macchio. Okay, guys, this has kind of been a sad bit of news this week on Twitter. We know that Elon Musk has changed his, I don't know, it's kind of going back and forth every day about the blue check marks and who gets them and who's had them taken away. But it looks like right when he started taking away the blue check marks, someone got in to Ralph Macchio's account, got into Ralph Macchio's Twitter account. And I just want to show you what happened. It's this dude. We don't know who it is, but this is Ralph Macchio's Twitter account. Someone hacked it and got in. It's this guy who says he's John at the Rock Trading Company. And this is really shameful, I think. And I think the good news here is that it looks like the tweets stopped on April 21st. So it looks like whatever's going on, the account is frozen. But what has to happen is look at all these followers Ralph Macchio has. I know you may follow Ralph Macchio. This guy has completely taken over his space on Twitter, Ralph Macchio's space on Twitter, and is trying to push his product, which is trading in the market, and really just horrible. I just probably one of the worst things you can do on social media. So my suggestion to everyone is if you are on Twitter, if you follow Ralph Macchio, if you enjoy Cobra Kai and Karate Kid, send a tweet at Twitter and then also at Elon Musk, and just saying that you want them to look at this and trying to get it resolved. I know that John Hurwitz has said that he's talked to Ralph Macchio. Ralph Macchio is trying to get it resolved, that it's a kind of a difficult situation. But if you can lend your voice, tweet at Elon Musk and Twitter and ask them to resolve this. We want Ralph Macchio back. He's a great presence on Twitter. I think everyone loves following him. We want to know what's going on with all his projects. So let's join the movement together, guys, and see if we can get this account restored to Ralph Macchio. It's just an absolute injustice. So thank you all for your support. If you're thinking of doing that, really, really appreciate it. So on the topic of Ralph Macchio, I thought it might be really interesting to look at kind of an update. Now, this is the movie, this new movie that supposedly is happening. We don't know much about it. We know that John, Josh, and Hayden are not a part of it. And so there's a lot of mystery as to what's going on. But this is, Ralph Macchio commented on this. So it's this in the gray box, that's what he said. I'll read it. He says, I know this movie is on the slate. On the slate doesn't always mean it's going to be in the theaters, so I don't know at what level this is and what exact story is being pursued. For me, right now, it's about finishing up Cobra Kai and making it the best last season ever. But, I haven't taken my phone off the hook. The actor also talked about his involvement in the project. He says, I think that will be figured out in the near future, or I may have nothing to do with it. We'll talk when we know what's going on. Okay. So I think that's interesting. I know a lot of us who've been following this have wondered, hey, what is going on? Like, why are they doing a Karate Kid movie that doesn't seem to involve John, Josh, and Hayden or anyone from the Cobra Kai team? And it seems to be this new story, but it's somehow related to the Karate Kid. It almost doesn't make sense. I don't know what they have planned. It could be something brilliant. There have been leaks about a potential story that's very different than, the original movies. Is it in the same universe? Is it not? We've had the Jaden Smith, Jackie Chan reboot. That was in a different universe. It was a remake of the movie. Is this a remake? Or is this set in the same universe with different characters? I don't know. But I'm interested to see what they do with it. For me, I'm kind of puzzled because John, Josh, and Hayden did such a great job with Cobra Kai. To me, it's kind of weird that they're not involved somehow, even just from a producing standpoint or having input on this. But I don't know. I don't know what Sony's got going on. I don't know what they have cooking. Maybe they know what they're doing. So I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments. Matt Moore, wonderful to see you. Good to see you, Matt Moore. George, Dar Save Silver. We're all supporting you, Big T. Thank you. Thank you very much. Save Silver. That's right, George. Gotta make sure he gets out of jail. Batman says Elon doesn't care about Ralph or anyone. Well, the thing is, I think we've seen that Elon Musk I don't know how we say it. He's trying out new things. He's tried to take these check marks away from celebrities, but that didn't work. It didn't generate revenue and created a bit of a backlash. And it made sense for the day or so that he took away the check marks from celebrities. It's tough because everyone creates copycat accounts and you don't know which one is the real one. And for regular users of Twitter, I think that blue check mark really, really helps because we want to follow the right person. For instance, this John guy who took over Ralph Macchio's Twitter account, everyone would know that he made that horrible decision to do that and that it was hacked. But now people aren't sure if that is supposed to be the Ralph Macchio Twitter account or not. So we'll see. I think Elon is coming back and maybe giving the blue check marks back because that's the value in Twitter. People know who they're following. It's very noisy out there in social media. So hopefully he'll make the right decisions going forward. I agree, Ken, you need an ad blocker. I know I should probably do that. So I didn't see what ads were being displayed. So just know I don't endorse anything that pops up in those ads. Big T says, I say they cancel the pointless movie they're working on now and do a Cobra Kai film setting up the next spin-off show. Yeah, I know there's so much potential for Cobra Kai movies, Cobra Kai related movies, or Cobra Kai related spin-off shows. I've wondered too, what would make for a good Cobra Kai film? And would we all be disappointed in a film just because it has to be so short? We're used to these, whole seasons that run in excess of 5 hours. Would a film be too short, or would we enjoy it? I don't know. That's a really, really great point. Darkest Hour, I've done that, but it doesn't highlight on my end. Robana does it show up? Oh, okay. Yeah, interesting. Let me go on to NASA. Thank you so much for your super chat. It really helps. I thought we may get a Cobra Kai theatrical film. I think it could work. I think it could too. And we see the magic that they do with, as Josh Heald said last year, they have a very limited budget for Cobra Kai, and they're able to work magic with that limited budget. Imagine if they had even a bigger budget for a theatrical film. And I don't know, it's not like it needs that much more, but it could be interesting. Like if you did more flashbacks, say to the war, they could be even more epic. They could have more time. They could set up more creative, I don't know, camera moves, or if they even want to do something like that. But it would be interesting to see what they could do with more money, a theatrical motion picture, bigger budget. So absolutely. Thank you for your comment and super chat. Sesha says, ever seen The Last Dragon? The character show enough. I'd love to see a matchup with Tig. Both actors were over the top characters and both are 6'5". Both are very collegiate. Very interesting. I haven't seen The Last Dragon, so I probably should check that out. So thank you, everyone. That's a recommendation for everyone else to check out. AEH, save Silver and let our guy win. I know. I hope Terry Silver has a really great showing in season 6, that he gets the justice he deserves. 100%. Donnie Pearson says, I love the new Super Mario Brothers movie. It's my #1 movie of the year. Kudos to the cast and crew. Yeah, Donnie, I have to agree. I think this movie was so much fun. It's exactly what it should have been. It was essentially just this epic cartoon. It didn't take itself too seriously. It was funny. It was breezy. And to me, it really represented the game. So growing up with all the Mario games, like the entire series, I played pretty much all of them through to completion. They're very light. There's not much story to them. And I think that's what this movie does. It doesn't get bogged down in a very deep story. It's just colorful, has funny moments, fun action. It's breezy. And it's good. I think everyone can enjoy it, from kids to adults. So I think in that sense, it's just a perfect adaptation of that video game that has been hard to adapt, as we know from the earlier 90s Super Mario Brothers movie. I agree, Batman, justice for Ralph Macchio, 100%. Donnie Pearson says, theatrical Cobra Kai movie? Yes, please. And that's the thing. I would think Sony and Netflix would understand just how powerful that would be. Now, here's the thing with Netflix. They don't like theatrical movies. They might release something for 2 weeks theatrically, but they want to bring it back to their streaming service. So if Netflix is contracted for all future versions or incarnations of Cobra Kai, it may not be possible to get a full theatrical run on a Cobra Kai movie. And maybe that's what Sony's thinking. I'm wondering if Sony is thinking, we have to do something different than Cobra Kai because we want a theatrical movie, but we're kind of contracted with Netflix right now, and they won't want to do a theatrical run. So maybe that's what they're thinking, is they want to do a theatrical movie that's not related to their contract with Netflix. I don't know. We shall see. We shall see. Jaws has been doing some detective work, I've seen, about Terry's various dwellings. Here he says, I see in Google Earth that Terry Beach House is working and changing its style. It'll probably be the new Ennis house. Interesting. Yeah, if you tweet about that, Jaws, I'd love to see the fruits of your research on that. That's very, very interesting. I, of course, love the Ennis house from Karate Kid 3. I think it's amazing. In my head, I think Terry still owns that place. We've seen him. He obviously owns multiple residences. He had a different one in season 5 than season 4. And so in my brain, he still owns the Ennis house. And who knows, once he gets out of custody, he might go back to the Ennis house. I don't know. That's just my wish. So Clifford, thanks so much for the super chat, Clifford. It's amazing. And thanks for being a channel member as well. Hi, Ken. I don't know who said it, but looks like Kim was in cahoots with Kreese. Interesting, because when Johnny and Chosen were fighting at Silver's house, because not all the senseis were there. Fascinating, Clifford. I have some theories about who Kim might be in cahoots with. It seemed like she was fully partnered with Terry Silver, but some things don't add up, especially in that finale. And I think at the very least, she might be teamed up, partnered with Mike Barnes because of what happened. And it would be interesting to know if Mike Barnes somehow is connected with Kreese. It's tough to know. But Kim Daeun seems like she's very resourceful, very smart, and she wants to probably be in charge of what happens with her grandfather's legacy. And she probably wouldn't want Terry Silver or anyone else to get in the way of that. So I think this is a very interesting comment, Clifford. And yeah, what do you guys think? Do you think she could be in cahoots with Kreese? Very, very good. Um, Darkest Hour, Cobra Kai movie. What would a potential storyline be without being cheesy or becoming a Double Dragon road trip type movie? It's tough to know because we don't know what is going to happen in the series finale of Cobra Kai. Everyone's thinking it's going to be the Sakai Taikai. We've had hints from the crew so far on other live streams. I did a live stream with Drew, the Cobra Kai kid, and there was a crew member who said that maybe they're looking at doing the Sakai Taikai set and thinking about that. So it looks like we're headed towards that. And I guess I don't know, we'd have to know what happens. What's the outcome of that tournament? And do we go back to the Valley? Does it stay as a worldwide thing? Very interesting. Very interesting. NASA, thanks so much for the super chat, NASA. Thanks for being a new member today. Actually, Paramount has contracted with Netflix to release a fourth Beverly Hills Cop movie called Beverly Hills Cop Axel Foley. Yes, which is very interesting. We might have to cover that here on this channel because here's another legacy sequel. We haven't had a Beverly Hills Cop movie since the early 90s. I think it was 1994, Beverly Hills Cop 3. So now we have Beverly Hills Cop 4, Axel Foley, and it looks like everyone's back. I don't know if Ronnie Cox is back, but it looks like all the characters are back. Again, even, I forget the actor's name who was not in Beverly Hills Cop 3. He's back. Judge Reinhold's back. Bronson Pinchot, if I'm pronouncing that name right, he's back. So very cool. I hope it's going to be really good. And it is going to be an online release. So we shall see. We'll see what happens. Peter Vonasak, thanks for joining us, Peter. It's great to see you. Peter runs Podstalgic and also the great Cobra Kai Companion podcast, which you probably listen to. If you don't, go over and follow the Cobra Kai Companion podcast. You'll love it, and I know you'll want to give it a 5-star review. Matt Moore says, would love to see a feature-length film showing Silver accomplish his dream of giving back. I'm talking worldwide dojos where kids can have Silver's core values: honesty, compassion, and fair play. Right. And the thing is, with someone with the ambition of Terry Silver, I don't think he's going to stop. He's going to want to keep going because that fighting style is important to him. His goals are very important. He's achieved almost everything he set out to do in life. And so for whatever reason, this is important to him. And I think he'll stop at nothing to make sure it happens. I'm sure he just doesn't want to deal with all these people who are trying to foil his plans. So, right. I think he does in his own way want to do something important to help kids see things the way he does. So we'll see what happens. George Dar says, I think they should make a Cobra Kai sitcom about Johnny and his new family with Carmen, Miguel, Robbie, and the new baby, and also have Daniel as the best friend. Yeah, it's an interesting idea because Cobra Kai, it almost has a sitcom feel to it sometimes, and I assume you mean just like a like a multi-camera sitcom. I think that would be a lot of fun. It'd be interesting to see how the fights would work. Would they have fights? Would villains come in? I'd love Terry Silver to come in a comedic sitcom context. And of course, who would be perfect for that? Would be David Shatra as Tom Cole, obviously a veteran of sitcoms. Tom Cole showing up maybe to cause havoc with the family. I don't know. So that would be fantastic. I love it, George. DK Style says, I think Kenny and Devin should be the head students for Cobra Kai. It'll be interesting to see what happens in season 6. I know that is a huge possibility. And I know everyone, you might have asked me last week about the stream. I'm doing Writer's Room with Drew, the Cobra Kai kid. It was supposed to happen this past Friday, but due to scheduling issues, that did not happen. But we're looking to reschedule and keep an eye out, subscribe, like, and follow here because I think you'd enjoy. We're coming up with our own Cobra Kai season 6. So we know the writers have been hard at work, and we're going to get to the writers here in just a second. They've been hard at work on Cobra Kai season 6. But we're coming out with our own version and asking for your help live. So be sure to follow and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss that when we actually do the next installment. Okay, guys, I think we should do our kind of main discussion for today, and that is the pending writer's strike.
KenCast discussion.
Okay, so the writer's strike, a lot of people I don't think have covered this yet, at least in Cobra Kai channels, and we're going to figure out if this is a big deal or not today. We're going to figure out if this means anything for the series going forward, for the shooting of Cobra Kai season 6. As you may or may not be aware, there was a near unanimous vote in the Writers Guild. So that's the Union of Hollywood Writers. And they authorized, if an agreement was not worked out with the Hollywood studios by May 1st, starting May 2nd, they would go on strike. And what that means is there would be a shutdown in all work from writers who belong to the Writers Guild for any TV series going forward. Why does that matter? Well, May is supposed to be the month when Cobra Kai season 6 starts filming. So how does a potential writer's strike affect the filming of the Cobra Kai season 6 production? So I am going to pull up an article talking about this, and this is from the LA Times. And this is what shows would stop first if Hollywood writers strike. Here's what the WGA says. Say goodbye to your favorite late night show if Hollywood's writers cannot cut a deal with studios by May 1st. That's the message the Writers Guild of America is delivering to entertainment investors and analysts as the Screenwriters Union ratchets up pressure on studios amid contract negotiations. If the two sides can't reach an agreement, it will result in the first work stoppage by the WGA in 15 years. And I don't know if you guys remember this. This was back, it was, I want to say 90 days, 100 days. It might say this in this article. It was a long time. Production just shut down back in 2008. And just major shows just absolutely stopped production. And then there was another shutdown, I think back in 1988, something like that. It really affected productions, notably the Star Trek season 2. If you watch Star Trek season 2, it really affected that season. There were fewer episodes. They had to pull scripts from an earlier series to use. So these things can be huge. They can be a big deal. So let's keep reading. In a Thursday memo obtained by the Times, the WGA said a May strike could delay the key fall network television season. The season contributes a third of all episodes produced, including 45% of the episodes produced by legacy media companies Disney, Paramount Global, and Comcast, NBC Universal. And streaming platforms with their vast library of shows to flick through would not be safe either, as platforms that carry broadcast shows would be hobbled by delays as writing on new shows ends. Quote, immediately new episodes of late night shows, including Jimmy Kimmel Live, Tonight Show, Real Time, Late Night with Seth Meyers, Saturday Night Live, Last Week Tonight, and others would cease. Okay, so these are the shows that are produced almost on a daily basis, the nightly shows, because those shows are written by writers who would be on strike. So it would be, impossible to do that. I will say, though, with Stephen Colbert back in the last strike, he's such a good improviser. He was able to keep doing the show completely improvised with no writers. So that was kind of amazing. But really, these shows, they need these writers, and writers are amazing. They're essential to all of these shows. So the writers are seeking increased pay, particularly from streaming residuals, and new regulations on working conditions. The WGA has sought pay increases and other changes to the contract valued at nearly $600 million at a time when studios are being roiled by cutbacks and layoffs, with many under pressure to make their streaming services more profitable. The union in its memo highlighted that writers typically work in May and June for shows due for release in September and October, and any delay to that writing could lead to postponing of fall season premieres and reduce the amount of programming. Okay, so and the article goes on, but let's talk about this. How would this affect Cobra Kai? We know that Cobra Kai season 6 started writing in February, maybe mid February or so. And so they've been in the writer's room, they've been working on episodes. And so we know that probably at this point, the entire season is pretty much in the can. They know what they're doing. So, how could this affect Cobra Kai season 6? Well, it depends. If they're not done writing yet, or if they've written, say, the first 5 episodes or 6 episodes, those are locked, but they haven't totally finished the other episodes. Basically, any writing that still needs to be done on the series by the time they start production, if that's right in early May, could be as early as May 2nd, would stop. So they would need to kind of focus on the material that they have, and potentially wait until the strike is over to continue writing. That's if they have anything left. So, at least from my perspective, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, it should be okay. I don't quite know what's going on with the writer's room and if it's done, but basically, if season 6 has not finished writing yet, if it's not done and there's a shutdown or a strike, then everything would be paused until that strike is resolved before going forward. So they may have enough to film the entire season by the time a potential strike happens, or they might have enough to film partial season, or for whatever reason, if things aren't totally set, then maybe production would be delayed a bit. The thing is, the writers who are in this, in the Writers Guild, which would be John, Josh, and Hayden, and their entire team of writers, they've known that this is coming for a long time, because they voted for it. And, there is the possibility that they've known about this, they planned for it, and they knew that this was a deadline, the May 1st deadline, and that they would finish writing season 6 before that deadline hits. So, I don't know. I'm interested to hear your thoughts. NASA, thank you so much for your super chat. NASA says, but if Cobra Kai starts filming in May, it's written, right? So they could still film, right? So if it's done and they start filming, yes. Now, what happens sometimes in shows is that there continue to be rewrites. So let's say they start shooting episodes 1 and 2 May 1st. Well, episodes 1 through 4 could be locked, but they might still be working on finessing the rest of the episodes. So if that happens, maybe they'd have to either go with what they've already written, earlier drafts, or they might have to pause production while they finish up later episodes. Maybe. I don't know how it works. Cobra Kai, it's such an efficient show, such an efficient production. And obviously the people involved, John, Josh, and Hayden, and their wonderful set of writers, they know where they're going. And so it's very possible that they may have completely finished all writing on Cobra Kai season 6. And so there's nothing to be worried about. But if they needed to kind of adjust things going forward or do rewrites, that kind of thing, that would stop. So thank you. Thank you so much. Maite says, bye, Ken. Bye. It's great to have you here today. Rabana says, a Can's fan, but they would still be working off the show. Right. Exactly. George Dar says, no, I'm a huge Marvel fan, and there are many shows supposed to come out this year and the next. Right. And so it's interesting. It'd be interesting to know behind the scenes just what studios have done to kind of line this up. The problem is, of course, the writers feel like they need more from their contracts with the studios. So they may not be motivated to necessarily hurry up and finish a season before the strike would happen because they want their claims recognized. They might not feel like putting in overtime to finish by the deadline when this contract ends on May 1st. And as the article says, most shows come out in the fall, and this is when a lot of writing is done for those shows. So it would affect major network shows, and I think any streaming shows that are going to be going into production in the fall. So I think, Cobra Kai fans, I think we might be in good shape. that they can at least start production on Cobra Kai season 6 and maybe kind of get back to, if there are any rewrites that need to happen in later episodes, any changes that need to happen, that they have enough script to work with until the strike ends. Of course, it's possible there may not even be a strike. If they can come to an agreement by May 1st, then the strike talk is moot. I think such a unanimous vote for a strike certainly sends a signal to the studios that they should probably try to work something out with the Writers Guild so they don't have this happening. But this has happened before. I think it was 100 Days back in 2008. And you saw, say, shows like The Office, a lot of the actors in the show were also writers. So they were actually not working. They were out kind of protesting, marching, hoping for an agreement. And that went on a long time. So sometimes these negotiations, they're not resolved quickly. So it will be interesting to see what happens. Definitely, I think it's something that we should keep watching if the strike goes forward, and maybe we'll hear something from John, Josh, and Hayden and their production team. They are part of the Writers Guild. They probably, likely, due to the 98% vote to strike, agree with the Writers Guild and need to make sure that these claims by the writers are fulfilled by the studios. So I don't want to speak for them, but we can see what happens. And if the strike does happen, they may come out in support of the strike, and we don't know how that might affect the Cobra Kai series. Bobby says, in my opinion, Cobra Kai is the best show based on an existing property. It's my favorite show by far. It's a very unique show. Thank you, Bobby, for your comment, and I totally agree. Not many times in history, I think, has there been a legacy sequel as successful as Cobra Kai. Something that has completely done justice to the movies, the classic movies that have come before, and then also brought in a whole new generation of fans that haven't even seen the original movies. It's very unique and very special, and it's kind of a cool time we're living in right now. So, yes, I 100% agree. Thank you. Thank you so much. Jaws says, Brett Ernst, you're more casual. Brett and you in Cobra Kai season 6 and Cobra Cole 2. Yeah, I got to talk to Brent and Brett, sorry, and we're I don't know. Stay tuned. Maybe I can't really say anything specific right now, but he's a great guy. He's funny. He's great. He has an amazing sense of humor. So that's another reason why you should subscribe and like and hit the notification bell. You don't want to miss stuff like that. So thank you, Jaws. Thanks for bringing that up. I appreciate it. NASA, thank you again for the super chat. Really appreciate it. This demonstrates the advantage to filming multiple seasons like seasons 3 and 4. And Picard season 3 was filmed well before its release. That's right. So Cobra Kai season 5, I love that you brought this up. Cobra Kai seasons 4 and 5 were shot pretty much back to back. There was a little break between the two, but they were shot back to back. Picard's season 2 and 3, believe it or not, were shot pretty much back to back. Terry Matalas, he is the Shoal showrunner. My goodness. It's live TV, guys. Anything can happen today. I think I need another sip from my magical Save Silver mug. Hang on. That's better. Terry Matalas. He's the sole showrunner from Picard season 3. He took over and did something just drastically different with season 3 of Picard. Even though they were shot back to back, seasons 2 and 3, what he did with season 3 was just absolutely phenomenal. And you would think the trend would continue from seasons 2 to 3 if they were shot back to back like that. But no, he changed everything. Really absolutely amazing. And that's why I kind of thought that with Cobra Kai, they might greenlight seasons 6 and 7 together, like they did with seasons 4 and 5. But they decided not to do that. And it actually sounds like John, Josh, and Hayden decided that, you know what? Season 6 is the perfect place to end it. And we don't need to do a season 7. We're going to make season 6 epic, which is pretty cool. So thank you so much for your comment, NASA. Thanks for the super chat. Clifford says, Ken, if they make a Legend of Zelda movie, which I hear is happening, which version would be the best to make, like A Link to the Past? I have to say, I think they might veer towards some of the more modern Zeldas, either the art style and look of Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, or they might go to more of like a realistic version of that. I think they could use ideas from Link to the Past, but I don't know if it would be that. You know how Link to the Past has that kind of cartoony look, 16-bit look. I think it would definitely be in a more modern art style. But I wouldn't be surprised if they use ideas from Link to the Past. Watching the Super Mario Brothers movie really makes apparent that they put in so many references everywhere. And so they love the history of these games, and I am sure that Link to the Past, which is regarded as one of the best, if not the best, Zelda games ever made, I'm sure it would have direct references. The movie would have direct references to that game. So I don't know, just my thought. I don't know what they have planned, but I think it might be very different than the Super Mario Brothers movie, which can be light. The story is light and funny, and just it's a cartoon. Zelda might be different because it's fantasy and it's always been a bit more serious. So it might have to have much more of a story and really build the lore of Zelda. So I'd be interesting to see what they come out with. Marianelle says Cobra Kai 2, please. Oh, thank you so much. That would be so much fun to do. Obviously there's an entire story in mind for Cobra Kai. I don't know. Honestly, I'd have to figure out what we can do legally. But I think everyone who is part of Cobra Kai would love to keep going and do Cobra Kai 2 and beyond. And lots of potential fun ideas. We just need to figure out what we could do, and then also figure out the budget, as these things go. Matt Moore, is the Writers Guild strike going to delay Cobra Kai 2? Well, I do have news. I of course sympathize and have solidarity with the claims of the writers, of course, for the strike. However, I am technically non-union, so if we do need to move forward with Cobra Kai 2, then we can do that during the writer's strike. If it keeps going on too long, we could easily launch into Cobra Kai 2 and do that. Dottie Pearson says, "Hello, NASA Cans fan. It's also like the first two original Superman movies being produced at the same time." Yeah, exactly. And you, of course, have an advantage to that. The Lord of the Rings movies were produced, Fellowship of the Ring, Two Towers, and Return of the King were produced pretty much all at the same time, except for some pickups that were done in the years following. But that is another great way to ensure consistency in all of these productions. So it's been done before. It's been done before. Peter says season 5 was only filmed the same year as season 4 because Netflix ordered for it. Right. And so, obviously the people financing it and distributing it have to order that. And I think you'll find that with all shows and all movies that are done together at the same time, is that it has to be ordered. The budget has to be there. There has to be the plan to move forward with the production of 2 seasons at once. So yes, that's a very, very, very good point. Jaws says Terry Silver in season 4 or 5. What is your favorite? Ooh, well, that's a good question. I'm going to say I prefer Terry in season 4. I love what Terry does in season 5. He's the villain. He's the star of the show. But so Thomas Ian Griffith is an absolute genius in all of it, and it's wonderful. But I liked how he was a little bit mysterious in season 4. And I think season 5, he is full Terry. He's full villain in season 5, and Thomas Ian Griffith he does such an amazing job. But I think I prefer Terry when he's a bit more ambiguous, where he is a villain, but at the same time, he could be your friend. Or, is he that bad? Is he conning me? Is he not? Is he serious? So I prefer that version of Terry where we don't quite know what's going on, but we see flashes of him being a villain and maybe his true colors. So I might prefer season 4 a bit, because it seems like he's really playing the long game in season 4. We have a lot of shades to Terry. So that's just my opinion. Steven says, how do you think Colonel Dugan and Daniel will meet for the first time in season 6? I think Dugan will randomly show up to Miyagi-Do. Well, Steven, I have to say, I love the fact that you just assumed it's going to happen. I love that. I would love to see Colonel Dugan back, and the reason is, some of you may have seen our KenCast with the Last Row podcast. We did, I think, over 2 hours of analysis on the next Karate Kid on that movie, and while really probably for a lot of us it's our least favorite movie for a number of reasons, there are some great things about it. One is Hilary Swank as Julie Pierce. Of course, Pat Morita does such an amazing job with that script, which is from a different writer than Robert Mark Heyman. But Pat Morita does a fantastic job. And the the number three thing in that movie that I think is absolutely amazing is Michael Ironside as Colonel Dugan. So I think Michael Ironside is an institution. He can play a villain like no one else. It's just a very unique style of villain. And if you took Michael Ironside, and this is my dream scene, took Michael Ironside, put him in a scene with Thomas Ian Griffith and Martin Kove, my gosh, I have a feeling like everyone's screens would explode. Seriously. So this is an important question. How do you think Colonel Dugan and Daniel will meet for the first time? I think Dugan will randomly show up to Miyagi-Do. Okay. So I think we'd have to think about how would Dugan get into the story. Talking Straight with Nate, he has his own channel. He brought up an interesting point that Mike Barnes stole the Rembrandt that's a stolen painting actually from the Gardner Museum in Boston. So that's where the next Karate Kid took place. So that's a connection. Is it possible that if Mike goes back to return the painting, he could run into someone like Dugan? Or is it possible that Julie Pierce, there's something that's happened where Colonel Dugan is maybe fixated on Julie Pierce and Mr. Miyagi because he got so humiliated by them in the events in the next Karate Kid, that if Julie Pierce comes out to the valley to help train for the Sekai Taikai, that Dugan could follow her? Or is it possible, and this is kind of gets back to a video I did, that Dugan knows John Kreese and Terry Silver from their time in the war? I do have a theory that we've already seen Colonel Dugan, that we saw him in the POW camp, that he is the soldier that Terry asked, how deep is that pit? So he's the soldier that came back all shell-shocked because he had a fight to the death with his comrade and had to send him into the pit. And you can tell he's just so messed up from that. So my theory is that is actually Colonel Dugan. And so if that's the case, is that someone that Kreese would go to? Is that someone that Terry Silver would go to? That would be a very specific connection, and it would be a bond, a war bond through trauma, and just so that I have a feeling there would be a lot of feelings and a lot of bonding from sharing that experience. So that's very interesting. I suspect that Colonel Dugan, if he shows up, probably would be either Julie or Kreese or maybe Terry Silver, but it's going to be one of those things if Colonel Dugan does show up. Of course, it would depend on, does Dugan fit into the story, and also does Michael Ironside want to come back as Colonel Dugan? I would love it. I'd love to see that scene. That is my request. If anyone writing the show is watching right now, that scene of Michael Ironside, Thomas Ian Griffith, and Martin Kove in one scene. That unbelievable. I'll die a happy man if that happens. George Dar says, to hashtag save silver, we have to hashtag save Cobra Kai first. I love it. That's great. Peter Vonasak, during the YouTube days, they always had told us that they had outlines for 6 seasons. Yeah, they always threw that around. They did, Peter. I think, and Peter knows because he was there from the beginning. So, I think in their head, this is the way it has to be. And if they're going to go out with a bang, this is going to be a great, great bang. Robana, random thought. I wonder what it's like for an actor to go back to a character they haven't done in a long time. It's like a boss of my first job asking me to come back. Right. I know. And is it strange at first? It's like, oh, wait, do I remember? Is it something where you get into the office, or get onto set and everything just comes back to you? I guess the advantage to an actor coming back is they can go back and review, they can watch the movies or they can watch the shows and kind of get brought up to speed. Maybe that can jar things. It's like, oh, that's okay. Whereas, if we went back to an old job, obviously we probably weren't filming ourselves. And so we might not remember everything. But, I think this is a wonderful question. And I might ask if I get the chance to talk to an actor who has, I don't know, had come back and played a part that they had played decades ago. It would be a very interesting question to ask. So thank you, Robana. NASA, thank you so much, NASA, for your super chat. It really supports the channel. Could you imagine a Mike Tyson's Punch Out movie? Oh, that's funny. I'd love to see the makeup for Glass Joe, Piston Honda, etc. Well, it's funny because a lot of people, I think, from when that game came out, kind of relate it back to the Rocky franchise, And so if they're going to do some kind of Punch Out movie, of course, I don't know if Mike Tyson would be involved nowadays, but if they're going to do some kind of Punch Out movie, I bet it would be a riff on Rocky, but you would have all these colorful characters. I think, though, it would be something where you'd need to have maybe even more of a story than it can be light, it can be fun, but more of a story than the Super Mario Brothers movie, which is just fun action and jokes and stuff like that. But I think you'd have to have some story for Little Mac, and I'd love to see it happen. They came out with a Punch Out movie for Wii, which was really good, and I'm surprised that they haven't remastered that or come out with a sequel to that because I love those Punch Out games. They're amazing. George, thank you for joining us. Really great to see you. Peter Vonasak, love Terry in season 4, but performance is best in 5. Yeah, interesting. Yes, that's a good point. He does do some amazing stuff in season 5. But again, I will say I enjoy the subtlety in, I think, season 4 a little more. Costa says, I hope Netflix really promotes season 6. They will, 100%, because Cobra Kai is one of the best, if not the best show on Netflix. Indeed. And, from the letter from John, Josh, and Hayden, they said that, or I'm sorry, it wasn't the letter. It was John Hurwitz, I think, later in a tweet said that Netflix did not end Cobra Kai. It was their decision to do it. So I think Netflix understood the power of Cobra Kai. And I think that's why we see all these rumors about spin-off series happening, because they know the Miyagi-verse is strong. So hopefully we'll get to see more out of the Miyagi-verse. Rabana says Terry season 4. Marianne L says Terry season 4. Yeah. I love Terry in season 4. I love the duplicity of him in season 4, 100%. Marcia says that, good to see you, Marcia. That KenCast was awesome, by the way, one of my favorites on the channel. Yeah, and guys, I'm kind of in a point where I'm reorganizing content and getting stuff ready, but I'm looking forward to doing more discussions like that. I know Peter is listening right now, but I'm going to be contacting him because there are some that we're going to have to do some great discussions ahead. And of course, Drew, and of course, the Last Row podcast, and many more. Hopefully get to do similar stuff to that. I love those discussions. They're great. Matt Moore says Karate Kid 3. I assume this is Tig's performance. They still haven't captured the full evil genius of Silver in Cobra Kai up to this point. That's a really interesting point, because if you guys remember way back, I did this video called What Terry Silver Wants. And there were a number of things that, at least in Karate Kid 3, I kind of identified in what Terry Silver wants. And, I think there is that aspect that we haven't fully seen yet from Terry Silver in the Cobra Kai series, is basically planning and executing a multi-layer manipulation scheme to perfection, where people don't even know they're being manipulated. I don't know if we've seen hints of that. We've seen some double crosses and surprises, but look at what Terry Silver did with Daniel in Karate Kid 3. That was such an epic con job of to the point where if we didn't know what Terry was up to, we would think he was totally good, and we wouldn't have expected. Like, he did everything that Kreese asked for with the bloody knuckles. He orchestrated Daniel. He played him like a fiddle. And I don't know if we've seen that level of manipulation in Cobra Kai yet. So it's possible that's what season 6 is for. So we shall see. Of course, we want to save Silver. We might see that evil genius come out in brand new ways that will catch everyone off guard. So we shall see. Batman says Michael Ironside plays a great villain. Total Recall. Exactly. He's classic. He's an institution. 100%. Clifford says, how cool would it be if Shannon Lee made a cameo at the Sakai Taikai? Well, guys, this is the number one thing about the Sakai Taikai is everyone's thinking of all these cameos that could happen. I still really, really hope that we do see William Christopher Ford and Daryl Vidal at least in season 6. Because not only, and I don't know if they'd just show up at the Sakai Taikai, they'd show up as characters, but not only are they alumni from the Karate Kid movies, they are legit martial arts masters. I don't want to, make them feel embarrassed if they don't claim that term, but they are basically. They're master. They are incredible martial artists, and they teach right now. You can learn from them, and they really, I think, would be an amazing presence in Cobra Kai season 6. If nothing else, in the Sakai Taikai, that would be amazing. Anyway, that's just me. We'll see what happens. The thing is, John, Josh, and Hayden, they're so good, and their writers are so good that I know they'll whatever we can think of, they've already thought of it, and so they're just basically honing down to the best story possible. Bobby says, "Don't get me wrong, I love our good guys, but am I the only one who always gets more excited for the bad guys?" Yeah, the bad guys are a lot of fun. They're and in the case of, they made John Kreese, he's deeper now than he was in those Karate Kid movies, and so we can kind of get on his side a little more, which is great. And then Terry Silver, he's just such a big, broad villain that just has so many qualities that, it's exciting. We don't know what he's going to do next, so it's really, really exciting. Steven says, I feel Michael Ironside would come back. He seems to take any role that comes his way, considering it would put him back in the spotlight. I don't know. Yeah. Now, as far as him taking roles, I know maybe he's been a little more selective lately, but I would think, I mean, come on, John, Josh, and Hayden, if they came to anyone and asked them, would you be part of this? It would be very hard to say no. I think you'd have to have a very strong reason why you wouldn't want to be part of one of the most successful shows on television right now. Maybe the most successful in terms of creativity. So I think there's a good chance. If there's room for Colonel Dugan, I'd say there's a good chance Michael Ironside would say yes. So we'll see. Darkest Hour, another next Karate Kid reference. Bring back Walton Goggins too. Oh, that would be amazing. Like he's such a good actor. He's in so much. It would be fun to get him back. Although remember, he was probably one of the first ones to not be on board, aside from Eric, to not be on board with Colonel Dugan's program. So who knows? Maybe he would come back and join Julie Pierce. So that would be great. Marianella says, I think Terry may have financed Colonel Dugan Alpha Elite. Even maybe Terry owns 50% of its Alpha Elite. I love the idea that Alpha Elite, because if you remember, the Alpha Elite in Next Karate Kid was basically this student paramilitary hall monitor organization. It didn't quite make sense. I'm still not sure if anything like that exists in real life, but I like the idea that the Colonel Dugan's Alpha Elite Club or organization might be financed and might be a thing, like Cobra Kai, like it might exist as a business. I love that idea, and I love the idea that Terry could own 50%. Yeah, it's very possible. You never know if Terry's bonded with Colonel Dugan in the war or something like that. You don't know what deals they might have struck. We shall see. Ben Urban says, good to see you, Ben. We need 15 episodes, 1.5 hours per episode. Something Hayden Schlossberg said was that season 6, if all the other seasons were a meal, season 6 would be like Thanksgiving. And if there's one thing I know about Thanksgiving, it is the one time a year where you get absolutely stuffed. So I'm wondering if that would apply to running times as well. So yeah, we could see supersized episodes. we could see more episodes. We could see at least towards the finale. We started to see that running time go up in towards the end of season 5. But if this is going out with a bang, we could see some feature length episodes for sure in season 6. So that would be great. Nerd World says season 4 Terry is my favorite. Yes, he was. It was just such an amazing return for that character. I thought very very cool. Bullseye. Am I the only one that prefers? No, absolutely not. I mean, the thing is, Terry in any incarnation is difficult. It's like trying to pick which of your kids you like the best, or it's you can't do it. I mean, Thomas Ian Griffith is so good that he is just relentlessly watchable. It's like I don't know. I think obviously the other actors do an amazing job too. Don't want to take anything away, but it's like man, it's just he focuses attention so well when he's on the screen. So no, season 5 Terry is like full tilt Terry, 100%. Peter Vonasak, thoughts on Dynatox? Is that completely moved on from, or are they saving it for season 6? Well, Peter, this is a fascinating conversation, and maybe you and I need to have a deeper discussion about this because I want to get your ideas. But we know from a deleted scene from season 4 that supposedly, Terry hit rock bottom. He lost his business. Okay. They don't name it, but they say he lost his business. But then he started coming back. He got his life in order. He made some investments in startups, and then he got all his money back and then some. So the question is, was that business Dynatox? Another question would be, was he telling John Kreese the full truth? Was he kind of telling a story? Because at that point, he was really trying to, I think, get under John Kreese's skin. At least in my opinion, he saw what John Kreese was doing, and you can tell that he was really like trying to lay into John Kreese a bit. He kind of resented that John Kreese came back at that point. They had this tension, and so I'm wondering if he was just saying certain things to manipulate Kreese into feeling bad. So we don't quite know what happened with Dynatox. It could be that Dynatox, maybe the business Dynatox, the name is done, and he's moved that into a new business, a new name. Of course, I love Dynatox. I love the name. It's wonderful. It is definitely from the 80s, and so I would love it if Dynatox somehow is still in existence. But yeah, Peter, we'll need to talk about this. Dynatox. Maybe we'll even get Drew because I know he's a huge Dynatox fan. Dynatox is amazing, so I hope it still exists in the world, 100%. Costa says Karate Kid is such an underrated movie. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah, it's a classic. It is a classic movie, and I think some people didn't recognize it as that or didn't realize that. And I'm hoping that now with the Cobra Kai series, people will go back to the original Karate Kid and realize how much of a classic it is. AEH says Terry in season 5, but I hope he goes back to season 4 Terry because I want the best for our guy. That's a good, you're right. We want to save Silver here. He's not all bad, is he? No. And even if he's not perfect, he has so many great qualities it balances out, right? Yes, 100%. Rodney, thanks for joining us, Rodney. Hey, Ken, here's a movie recommendation. Have you ever watched The Showdown? It's a 1993 Karate Kid copy, but a little more edgy. It also features Billy Blanks and the actor who played Ned in the next Karate Kid. That's so interesting. I have not seen Showdown, and that would have been a year before the next Karate Kid. And I'm wondering if that kind of helped Michael Cavalieri play Ned or help him get the part in next Karate Kid. That's pretty cool. I'd love to check that out because a lot of people bring up Billy Blanks, in these discussions, and maybe we'll have to watch it sometime together. We shall see. John Spangler, good to see you, John. Hey Ken, great podcast. Do you ever think that they will bring Freddy back, the one who invited Daniel to the beach? And if you look at the end of the movie, he's actually in the crowd cheering. Right. That Freddy Fernandez has been such an interesting character. I know that he's a bigger character in the musical, which Peter, I think you've seen, than he was in the movie. So Freddy Fernandez we get some Freddy love now if you go see the musical of The Karate Kid. And if he's still in the valley, it would be, I think, the easiest thing to even have Freddy swing by for like a scene or something like that, because he could still be in the area and could be friends with Daniel. So we'll see. A lot depends on what's going on in the story. Obviously, the willingness, maybe the actor doesn't want to come back for whatever reason, but I think the one thing about Cobra Kai, it is like a juggling act. I imagine that's the complication of doing a series like Cobra Kai at this point in season 6, is that every season it's like with all the characters, it's like you're juggling, and like it's someone's throwing more balls for everyone to juggle, and it's like being able to keep them all up in the air is kind of tough. And so I understand it's like we can't get necessarily every single character that we would want, just because of story reasons and time constraints, but I think it would be amazing to see Freddy again, 100%. Marco says Terry Karate Kid 3 is absolutely the best. Great to see you, Matt. Thanks for joining us. Jaws says if Dinotalk series would be real, the day of the premiere, 24 hours of KenCast for the hour premiere. Yeah. I would be over the moon with the Dinotalk series. And I think I would love to see Terry Silver in a business context. And personally, I've had so many ideas. I've thought about this a lot, guys, as you could probably tell, but what would Terry be like as a boss? What would it be like, because I know a lot of you watching now, a lot of us have worked jobs, corporate jobs. We have this hierarchy. You work for a CEO. It might be a toxic relationship with, or toxic work environment. What would happen if you work for Dinotalks? Would it be as bad as you would think? Would it be a successful business? Does Terry run a tight ship? Maybe you don't even have any clue that he's that bad, or is he? I think that would be very interesting. Great to see you, NASA Canes fan. Good to see you. Thank you so much for all your support. Thanks for being a channel member, and thank you for your super chats. Always love to hear from you. Thank you so much. Costa says, Terry reminds me of the Green Goblin. He has that business side and relentless side like the Green Goblin. That's a really good point. I think that's an excellent point. And, now that you mention it, you could definitely see Thomas Ian Griffith playing the Green Goblin, I think. 100%. Nerd World says, Diona being the sponsor for the Sky Tie Guy. That's interesting. It would be so funny if Diona was ready to kick Daniel out of being able to sell their cars because of controversy over kids fighting, and then they go all in the other direction. They're like, hey, we've got to actually sponsor the Sky Tie Guy. I think that would be a lot of fun. Nerd World also has an idea about the Alpha Elite. Maybe after the next Karate Kid, the Alpha Elite changed in kind of security. They changed into security, and also them being in the Sakai Taikai, and we're getting a plot twist. Would love to see Vidal as a sensei. Yes. Or maybe Daryl Vidal runs the entire thing. You never know. It would be absolutely incredible. What else do we have? We have so many great comments, guys. I want to say hi to Lupo Music. Thanks for joining us again, Lupo. I'm so late, so I don't know what's the topic, but I love that Barnes Dennis pick on the background. That's my thoughts. Yeah, check this out. I don't bring this up a lot, but check this out. That is signed by both William Christopher Ford, who played Dennis, and Sean Kanan. So, I mean, those guys are amazing. They're incredible. If you follow William Christopher Ford, he always has amazing stuff. Just set this back. He has his 52 Masters series, and I think we'll be doing more stuff. Put that there. We'll be doing more stuff with William Christopher Ford in the future. He's just an incredible guy. And then Sean Kanan, obviously, he's been on KenCast before, and he does a lot of motivational stuff. If you follow him on Instagram, on Twitter, he has Way of the Cobra. He keeps doing seminars. He's very positive and supportive, and if you follow him, I think you'll get a boost. He has so many motivational things to say. So, and of course, he's a great actor. Mike Barnes. Yes. Let's see. Well, guys, let's see. I think we've had just an amazing talk today. Subscribe, hit that like button, hit the notification bell. We'll have exciting stuff going forward. We're just trying to basically schedule everything. It's kind of an interesting time right now, but hopefully we'll launch very soon with some interesting content, have great discussions, and of course, Love your input. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. And remember that Cobra Kai never dies. And I look forward to seeing everyone next time on KenCast. Hope you have a great day. All right. See you guys.